Hello. Today I'm creating another page for my 2011 album. It's a 12 by 12. I have two 4 by 6 pictures here. I've already decided I want this pattern paper for the background. I've trimmed it a little bit. I want to put a border. I picked these three blues and I actually liked all three, but I wanted a softer tone to this layout, so I end up going with this lighter blue here, but again, I really like the other ones as well. I am gonna gut this paper, which means I am going to cut the inside out, and I am going to use that to mat my photos after. This is a new trimmer for me. I got this Creative Memories trimmer recently, so I fidget with it for a very long time. I'm not gonna make you watch all that just because I was just trying to get it right and see where the blade was and kind of just, I still need to practice with it for a little bit. But I do like the trimmer. I didn't do a good job at lining up those edges, but I go in with a knife and I get that center out. Because I had a little bit of issue, I am going to end up distressing this, but here I am putting that frame on my mat so that I can easily line up the center pattern paper. I'm gonna use some double-sided tape here just around the edges. So once I'm done putting the double-sided tape around these edges, I'm also going to add a little bit of liquid glue. And the reason I do that is because first, I want to make sure that it's really stuck in there, but the liquid glue gives me a little bit of wiggle room so I can center that pattern paper on top and make sure that my borders are even all around. So I do come in with that glue right here. Again, just lining it up on my mat, trying to make this as easy as I possibly can on myself because it fits crooked. It really bothers me, but it's also really hard to get it centered. This pattern paper that I chose is from a really old, I believe it was a Recollections paper pad that I've had in my stash for absolutely ever. So I think I've said this in previous videos, but I'm really trying to use up my stash, especially the older stash. Here I got my mat a little out of center, and I'm just going with my finger over where that tape and that glue was just to make sure everything stays in place. And now I'm looking at my pictures. I'm trying to think of like how I want to lay this out, and this is when I decide to use that blue as a background paper. So I measure, I'm gonna just mark it with my nail so I know where to cut it. I've now cut that piece to the size that I wanted. I've distressed the edges. It wasn't 100% straight, so I just distressed the edges a little bit, made sure that that was centered, and I'm also looking at if I left enough of a gap on that side. I'm now gonna come in with embellishments and the title. I have these little drawers near my desk, and I always forget that they're there. I forget to use the stuff that's in there. So again, I'm making an effort to remember. I'm just going through some of the glitter items that I have. I really like this silver glitter love tab, but it's a little too big, so it's sitting a little bit too high there because I got the bow and the love from two different packs, just making sure that that glitter matches. And I'm gonna cut off a little bit of that tab so it looks like it's sitting further down. It's just gonna make things line up a little bit better. Once I cut this part off, I can then adhere this to the top there. I do fidget with it for a little bit. I go back and forth, making sure that's where I actually wanted. That is where I wanted it. I'm now gonna go through another one of those little drawers, and this one has my acrylic in it. And I found these blue asterisks as well as that heart, so all of that's gonna make into the layout. I'm just trying to have a visual triangle. I go through what else is there, and I decide that nope, that's all I'm gonna use. I'm trying to keep this layout very bright and light. These are pictures of a baptism that we had for one of my little cousins. So I'm just trying to keep it light and airy. Um, Now I'm gonna come in. I already have my title picked out. I use these alphas that also have been in my stash for absolutely forever. I've used them a couple of times before. I fidget with this packaging for a little bit. I'm also going to see if I want to add a dot to the top of that eye. I decided not to, um, but I just want to make sure that I don't want anything else from this packet, and then I put those alphas away. Here I'm just showing you what it is, or trying to show you what it is. It's an American Crafts from 2010, so that's a long time, 16 years, but it finally made into a layout, so that's awesome. I'm now gonna glue everything down. I like how things look. I like where everything is positioned. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue these down. I am using tacky glue for these acrylics, and I have not had an issue with that yet, but I'm always concerned that these things are going to fall off, so I do hold them in place for quite a while. I add a little bit of glue to the back of all these alphas because, as we just saw, it's been in, I've had them forever. So just want to make sure that that glue is good and that nothing is going to fall out. I want to make sure that my layouts don't end up at the bottom of the page protector. So I always try to add extra glue and extra adhesive just to make sure I don't have any issues. I am gonna fast forward here so you guys don't have to watch me glue everything down. Um, and I also have to line up those letters. Again, I'm just fidgeting with that packaging, making sure nothing is falling out. Um, I also chose that light blue pen. I'm going to use it to write the date on this layout later once I've got the title glued down. Once everything is glued down, that's it. Another simple layout, getting another one of these done. Here a few close-ups for you guys to see kind of the embellishments. And that's going to be it. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.